Hey, good morning. I don't know if it's morning for you, but it's morning for me. Little short funny story that I want to tell you is that we've been playing Baldur's Gate, and your birthday's pretty soon. And I know what you're thinking. My birthday's pretty soon. You're only on chapter 15. Yes, you're right. But we've just been playing Baldur's Gate, and it is so fun. One thing that you said that was really cute, that has been racking in my mind, is that you were iffy on if you wanted to play Baldur's Gate just because, and then you said, because once I start playing, I don't want to stream. I don't want to work on the server. I don't want to do nothing. I just want to play. And I thought that was so cute. But right now, you're currently working on your server, or you're working on a video for your server or something. But yeah, I just thought it was really cute, and I love you. So we're gonna hop in chapter 15, Payton. Also, I haven't really talked today, so we're gonna see how my reading ability is, and I apologize, but I love you. Chapter 15, Peyton. My palms are slick with sweat. I sit down on the seat beside Telia and smooth out the skirt of my dress, if only for an excuse to wipe my sweaty hands on the smooth silk. I look up into the audience and my breath catches. I'm embarrassed that I hadn't observed them before, but I can't seem to tear my eyes away. The king and queen and Kit. They stare down at me from their snug glass box. The king and his heir sit close together, their similarities striking me like a blow to the chest. Their sandy hair and emerald eyes mirror one another, looking so alike that my hatred for one begins to bleed to the other. Also, I forgot Tilia's voice because it's been like a few days since I recorded last one. So if this voice is different, that's all I gotta say. So, Peyton, tell us about your incident with Prince Kai. My eyes trail back to Telia's, nearly blinded by the gleaming white teeth in her vibrant hair. She leans towards me and places a soft hand on my shoulder, projecting my voice for all to hear. Well, according to Prince Kai, there's not much to tell. But if you ask me, I think he's a little embarrassed that a girl from the slums had to come to his rescue. The words tumble out of my mouth before I can stop them. Oh, plagues. I need the people to like me, and mocking their prince is probably not the best way to. What? Laughter. To my surprise and my saving grace, the audience finds me amusing. I peek over my shoulder at Kai and watch his ghost of a smile grace his features. So maybe I can bash the prince at all. I can work with that. Not afraid to tell it like it is. Telia laughs softly before moving on to the next question, the one that I'm sure many are wondering. So, tell us again how it was that you were able to fight off the silencer? I mean, it's clear that you can hold your own in a physical fight, but how come the silencer didn't affect you? I take a deep breath, knowing that the details is very important for everyone to understand to believe. Well, Talia, I'm a psychic. It's a mental ability that allows me to sense strong emotions from others and get flashes of information. And because of that, I have the power to guard my head, keep it safe from people like the silencers. I smile slightly before adding, and apparently people like Prince Kai, since he can't use or sense my small ability. How fascinating, I must say. I've never met a psychic before. Her eyes are wide, looking very intrigued at me, as I'm sure the rest of the crowd is. Yes, well, despite me being a mundane ability, it does seem quite rare. I smile brightly as if I'm not lying through the teeth I'm flashing at her. All right, Peyton, tell us about your life in the, she stutters, almost saying slums before choosing to say, in Ilia. I contemplate lying some more, saying how it wasn't that bad, how it was easy living in the slums, but it seems suddenly I have the urge to be honest. You mean life in the slums? She blinks at me, surprised by my blunt correction. There's not much to tell. Life on the street isn't much of a life at all. I look her right in the eyes before turning to face the hushed crowd. These past few years, hunger and cold have been the only constant in my life. But it's not just me. There are dozens of others who sleep on the same hard cobblestone that I did. Dozens of others that would do anything for a single shilling. I pause to take a breath. Living in the slums is survival of the fittest. So, in a way, I'm more prepared for these trials than anyone. Talia stares at me in shock, clearly not expecting that answer. Then something like pity gleams in her brown eyes. I hate it. I don't want her or the crowd's pity. I want change. She quickly moves on to more lighthearted questions about training and my fellow contestants. Who do you think will be your biggest competition? I took a strand of hair between my ear, contemplating the answer. Perhaps Prince Kai, seeing that he has the ability to use any power. Oh, sorry, that was Talia. Perhaps Prince Kai, seeing that he has the ability to use any power, Talia offers. Not mine, remember? I laugh lightly, and so does she. He won't be a problem. In fact, we'll see how far he makes it in these trials without me there to save him. I smile sweetly as the crowd roars with laughter, practically feeling Kai's eyes burning a hole in the back of my head. All right, Peyton. Last question. What do you expect to get out of the trials? My mouth opens, intending to spew out the practice motto of the purging trials like everyone else had, like I'm supposed to. But when my eyes look on the glass box above me, lock on the current expected king, words fall out of my mouth before I can even bite my tongue. The wrong words. Survival. I expect to survive this. I can feel thousands of eyes pinned on me. Talia manages a slow blink while a wisp of teal hair blows across her face in the soft breeze. Finally, she clears her throat and stands stiffly to guide me down the stage. All right, then. Oh, I'll put it. All righty. She tries to act natural. She says, show us what you can do. Now I'm blinking at her. How the hell am I supposed to do that? I look around the stadium and I say, why don't you choose a random person from the crowd and I'll read them? What the plagues am I talking about? Talia smiles and nods, clearly happy to go do something. I watch as she climbs the steps out of the pit and begins walking down the rows of people, smiling and waving as she goes. After a few minutes of contemplation, she finally points to a young girl seated in the few rows above. The poor girl looks concerningly confused, but cautiously stands before making her way down into the pit, guided by Talia. When she approaches me warily, I realize she can't be much older than I am. Her short brown hair, paired with the freckles splattering her face, grant a constant look of innocence. I smile and reach out and take her hands, wanting to make a show of this. Don't worry, I won't bite, I say softly as she takes a slight step back. I offer her what I hope is a warm smile, and with that, she slowly holds her tan out to me. Grasping them gently in my own, I quickly observe her before squeezing my eyes shut. I have everything I need. I think of the tarnished chain around her neck, paired with the faded large ring hanging from it that was just barely visible behind the folds of her shirt. I kept my father's ring after he died too, only I wear mine on my thumb. I'm sensing grief. I squeeze her warm hand, taking a deep breath. You lost a man that was very close to you, a while ago. Your father? I open my eyes to see her mouth hanging open. Yes, she says quietly, even with Talia's hand on her shoulder to amplify her voice. Yes, he died 4 years ago. I'm sorry for your loss. I know what it's like to lose a father. I kept my eyes locked on her. I kept my eyes locked on her, though I desperately want to glare up at the king in his shiny box. A collective gasp echoes through the crowd, amazed that I could know such a personal detail, and they want more. Talia selects person after person to come down into the pit, each one more excited to be read than the last. I spout random and personal things about them, things that a stranger shouldn't know. You just found out you're pregnant. Your father is a blacksmith. You stole these shoes you're wearing. Every time both the person I read and the crowd above us are in awe, they gasp, clap, and cheer, completely captivated audience. Plagues, if I knew people like this so much, I would have charged for readings on the street. A lanky young man now stands before me, a grin lighting up his face as he stares down expectantly. Closing my eyes, I recall the faint ring of dirt clinging to the right knee of his pants as he walked towards me. That, combined with the subtle outline of a small box in his coat pocket and the happy glow of his face, mean that I've come to my conclusion in the matter of seconds. I'm sensing joy because I release one of his hands to press my finger to the temple. You just got engaged. Today. I open my eyes just to see his mouth fall open. Yes, she's right. I just proposed less than 2 hours ago. He spins to face the crowd, a wide smile on his face, and the audience goes wild. Congratulations! My shout is swallowed by the cheering crowd, and he practically skips up the stairs to return to his seat. With that, I spin on my heel and head back down towards my chair, not waiting for another person to come striding down for me to read. Here! Talia sweeps an arm behind her, gesturing to us. Are your contestants for the 6th ever purging trials? Her voice echoes across the stadium, only to quickly be drowned out by the crowd. The contestants around me stand, and I do the same. We wave and smile to the crowd, watching as they chant, stomp, and pump their fist in the air. I feel sick. I feel used. This is all a game to them. But if I want to stay alive, I have to play my part. I have to play them. Being a pawn in their game is the price I have to pay to survive. Make them believe I like this. And in turn, they will like me. So I straighten, holding my head a little higher, and I smile a little brighter. I am no one's pawn. Blood clings to my hands, my clothes, staining everything into a sickening red. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I just went straight into it. Hey, honey, chapter 16. Blood clings to my hands, my clothes, staining everything a sickening red. Torturing tends to be a messy occupation, and despite how many years of practice I've had, it never seems to get any easier or cleaner. Unlike Kit, who has been trained since childhood to be poised just as a kingly, my training has consisted of more hands-on work. Battle strategies, assassinations, the art of torture made up most of my education. And due to this unique and extensive training I've received, I'm very good at what I do. Except, it seems, when it comes to this silencer cowering in the dungeon floor before me. It's been days. I've beaten this man to a bloody pulp, and what have I learned in return? Nothing. To say that I'm pissed would be an understatement. The only useful word I've gotten him to slip past his lips, besides the splitting screams and pleas, is what I'm assuming is his name. Micah. I sigh, crouching down to hover over his broken, bloody body. His long hair, matted with blood, falls into the deep black eyes. They widen when they meet mine, making him look so young. He can't be more than a few years my senior. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I say deceptively soft, but I don't believe you're a mute. I grab his jaw and pry it open to reveal the blood pooling out of his mouth, over his tongue, staining his teeth scarlet. But I could easily make that happen. I could carve out your tongue. I drop his head to the stone floor and stand to leave, aware that I'm already late for dinner. Slamming the door in the cell behind me, I offer Damien a curt nod. He gives me a slow bow of his head and returns before following me down the long hallway of cells. Our footsteps echo off the stone walls as we make our way up to the stairs and into the bright, sun-filled hallway above the dungeons. You didn't hear that? I deftly head to the throne room, even while my mind wanders. The trials are so quickly approaching, and with only 4 days separating us from the first deadly game, these past few days have followed the same routine of training, eating, talking, and torturing. And well, toying with Baden. She's been my main source of entertainment as of late. She's entertaining, with her wit and her stubbornness and audience annoyance with me. Ugh, stop. I push the thoughts of Peyton from my mind as I stride through the large doors of the throne room. My hands find their way to my pockets. Casual, despite how very aware that I am that my navy shirt is splotched with blood that doesn't quite fit the dress code for dinner. My servants have already brought food to the table, which everyone sitting around is greedily enjoying. Heads turn when they hear my shoes on the polished floor, several pairs of eyes flickering from my face to the blood clinging on my clothes. I ignore their stares, seeing that I'm too tired to change and too hungry to care. Ah, Kai, glad that you made it. Father sounds peeved, per usual, as I take my seat. Honey, Mother says quietly, leaning towards me, you look a little, well, bloody. She cringes as her eyes roams over me, assessing her son. Occupational hazard, Mother. I give her a small smile, the sweet one that I reserve only for her. She nods hesitantly before trying to relax back in her chair. I barely listen to the quiet to the quiet chatter carrying on around me. I'm finishing up the last of my beans when an insistent tapping has me looking up. Strands of Peyton's silver hair fall around her face in loose curls, the rest of it tied into a messy knot at the nape of her neck. Her eyes are pinned to the plate, her thumb and silver ring tapping a steady beat against the wooden table. And then those ocean eyes slide up to mine. I tip my head toward her drumming thumb. Is there something on your mind, Gray? She looks over at me, as if noticing my presence for the first time. Is there something on your shirt, Azer? Her eyes skim over my clothes before widening slightly. Is that blood? I'm sure I imagine the flash of worry on her face, the look of concern when she thinks that it may be my own blood staining my shirt. Careful, darling. You almost look as if you care. I give her a lazy smile, and she gives me a lazy eye roll. My gaze snaps to Mother when I hear her gentle voice cut through my thoughts. I hope you've all begun pairing up for the first ball. I glance around the table. Only 3 who haven't previously lived in the castle look confused. Hera, Ace, and Peyton haven't grown up watching these balls. Haven't even ever been to a ball. I envy them. As is tradition, Mother continues, the contestants will partner up for the balls that are held before each trial. And since there is an odd number of you, whoever doesn't have a partner will be paired with someone, so don't worry. Her smile somehow grows wider, she says, so choose your date and get to practicing your dance steps. Kit shifts beside me. I see him quickly glance in Peyton's direction. I run a hand through my hair before turning my attention back on my food, needing to focus on something else. Since the girls outnumber the boys, it's likely that Kit will be paired with whoever doesn't have a partner, but that won't stop him from asking one of them if he wishes to. It's clear that Peyton intrigues him, but even if Kit wasn't going to ask Peyton to accompany him to the ball, which I doubt that he will, she doesn't want me. Well, I like a challenge, but she's made it abundantly clear on what she wishes us to be: competition, enemies. And more importantly, why isn't that what I want as well? I awake the next morning, drenched in sweat. This isn't uncommon, not with the nightmares that tend to haunt me in my sleep, but today's different. Today, it's bloody boiling outside, and it's only dawn, and my room is already sticky with humidity. I roll out of bed and make my way to the bathroom, where I splash cool water over my already damp face. It doesn't seem to take me long to get ready, begrudgingly pulling on a white cotton shirt before slipping out the door, and there she is. She steps out of her room with her head down, quietly shuffling to the door before looking up and practically jumping at the sight of me. Plague, Kai! Don't scare me like that. I blink. It's the first time she's called me by my name. And then I realize that I could get used to the sound of it rolling over her tongue. She seems to notice what she said and clears her throat before beginning to walk down the hallway. Aren't you up early for a prince? She calls over her shoulder. What? No breakfast in bed? I catch up to her easily, taking 3 strides before I'm walking beside her. If you're not getting breakfast in bed, neither am I. And I'm just a regular contestant, remember? No longer a charming prince for the time being. You were never that to begin with. I chuckle as we turn the corner, spotting the kitchen looming ahead. The smell of biscuits and eggs wafting from within is enough to make me change course. So, Peyton begins, probably the start of some snide comment that I'll never get the pleasure of hearing because I grab her wrist and tug her towards the kitchen doors. I'm sure she is just as hungry as I. And, well, breakfast won't be served for another hour. I'm doing us both a favor. Apparently, Peyton doesn't share my sentiment. Her feet dig into the floor at the threshold of the kitchen, eyes darting between mine. "What are you?" she starts, giving me a murderous look that I'm already so familiar with. "Shh!" I press my finger on her lips, lightly, and the words die in her throat. "I suppose my job will be forever feeding you now, Gray?" Her flustered expression has me laughing quietly before I look at the scuff of shoes, reluctantly drawing my gaze from her wide-eyed ones. We've drawn quite the crowd, several servants standing and staring at us, taking the scene before them. But they scuttle away swiftly, snickering as they try to make themselves look busy. "Hello, ladies," I call, looking around the room at the blushing servants. "I've brought a far more interesting guest today than Kit." I place a gentle hand on the small of Peyton's back, prodding her forward. It's a question, a tentative test, an innocent inquiry. Is this okay, I think? I briefly wonder if she's considering breaking my wrist, maybe contemplating placing a dagger to my throat. And then she relaxes, easing into my touch. An answer to my question without uttering a word. Yes. I guide her towards the center of the kitchen, where I've spotted Gale, currently hunched over the stove. "Good morning, Gale." She spins around, her face lighting up when she sees me. You look lovely as always." My mouth smirks as I hop up on the counter and sit beside her, where she flips crispy pieces of bacon over the stove. Bacon. Oh, I'm so hungry I could eat bacon. "You're such a kiss-ass, Kai," she teases, lightly whipping a towel in my direction. Her eyes land on Peyton and she straightens, nodding currently. "Ah, Mrs. Peyton, a pleasure." "Please," she sighs with a smile. "No, miss. Just Peyton." I can practically see Gale relax, probably thanking the plague that formalities aren't needed. "Now, what is a sweet girl like you hanging around with riffraff like him?" Gale jabs a thumb at my direction while I snatch a strip of bacon from the pan behind her turned back. I let out a low laugh. "Oh, sweet isn't the word that I would use to describe her, Gale. She held a knife to my throat only a few days ago." "He deserved it," Peyton says simply, shrugging lightly. "Oh, I'm sure he did," Gale replies, grinning at her. "I probably would have done the same." She glances at me, nodding towards Peyton. "I like this one." Peyton tips her head back and laughs. My body goes still as I listen to the sound of it fill the kitchen. So warm, so bright. Then, too quickly, she collects herself, clears her throat, and turns towards me. "So, Kit, are you close with Gale?" My head tilts to the side as I peer down at her, my eyes never straying from hers as I say, "Inseparable, aren't we, Gale?" A loud snort escapes the cook. "Inseparable indeed. The princess won't leave me alone." Her eyes sparkle with pride when they meet mine. "I'm the only reason that the two of them aren't stick thin." "Ah, yes," I sigh. "We have Gale's sticky buns to thank for fattening us up." After Gale gladly informed Peyton of some rather embarrassing stories from my childhood, we talk casually, a regular routine for the cooks and me. I ask about her son, stationed as a guard near the scorches, all while sneaking bits of food as she swats at my hands. My gaze snags on Peyton from where she watches me curiously, as though trying to puzzle me out. Funny. Normally I'm the one giving her that look. I jump off the counter and give Gale a peck on the cheek. "Don't miss me too much." Then I turn towards Peyton, who's leaning casually against the counter, a small smile tugging at her lips. I take a slow step towards her. Her head tips up to me and looks me in the eyes as I close the distance between us, so close that I can smell the lingering scent of lavender on her skin. I reach around her back, fingers brushing her tank. Her breath hitches and I feel my lips tug upward. When she opens her mouth to tell me off, I pull my hand back, slowly holding an apple in front of her face. "Always feeding you, remember?" She stares at the fruit before snatching it from my hand, huffing in annoyance. And then she smiles, the dazzling action lighting up her face as she rubs the apple on my shirt right above my heart. She takes a bite, her eyes locked with mine. "And you said you weren't a gentleman." By the time we make it to the training grounds, I'm slicked with sweat once again. Almost in unison, several of us peel off our shirts, unable to bear the heat any longer. Kit and I set off jogging around the ground at an easy pace. I watch as the contestants pair off to spar on their separate ways to train. Andy is currently in the form of a red leopard, circling several sadies at one of the dirt training rings. Unsurprisingly, Braxton is on the ground doing push-ups, while Jack occupies himself by throwing rocks as far as he can, only to blink and catch them before they hit the ground. Finally, my traitorous eye slides towards the flash of silver hair. She's beating on a padded tree, per usual. She always does this. Her movements are so quick, controlled, channeling an emotion that I can't place. She spins suddenly, her arm raised before I see the wrist flick. The blink of a knife sinks deep into a tree 10 yards away. Practice, purposeful, and precise. But I'm not the only one watching. Kit's gaze is locked on her almost as curiously as mine. I clear my throat and pick up our pace. So how are you feeling? Kit's eyes whip towards me. At the moment? Tired. I laugh at that, hitting him lightly in the stomach. Yeah, you're getting out of shape, kitty. He shoves me at the mention of his childhood nickname. Well, I don't exactly have a reason that I need to be in shape, do I? She looks. Though he says this jokingly, I don't miss the bitter edge in his voice. I sigh, already knowing what this is about. You know why you can't? I have no idea what you're talking about. Like hell you don't, I mutter. Kit, you're the next king of Ilia. We need you alive. The trials are no place for you. Shit. As soon as I have the words leave my mouth, I know that they've struck him like a physical blow. Is my own kingdom no place for me either? His laugh holds no humor. Hell, is anywhere outside of the castle not safe for the heir? Kit, I know. He cuts me off, taking a deep breath. I know our duties are different. They always will be. I just wish mine weren't so damn boring. With that, he shoots me a weak smile in the effort to lighten the mood. I watch him, waiting to see if he'll say what we both know that he wants to. Waiting to see if he'll tell me that he feels trapped, that he feels like he's constantly trying to prove himself, that he wishes that he were in the trial so he could do just that. But he says nothing of the sorts. His smile. Oh, I lost my place. Hold up. But he says nothing of the sorts. His smile, a silent plea to return to just being brothers, and not the future king and his enforcer. So for him, I force a grin on my face. Well, at least I can count on your vote in the trials. The tension seems to melt from Kit's body as he smiles, displaying his emotions like he always has. He sighs in relief at the change in topic before saying, Oh, I don't know that you can count on my vote after all that you called me fat a few minutes ago. Kai Pie. I hate that nickname. That asshole knows it. So I stick out my foot, sending Ilya's next king sprawling into the ground before he drags me with him. We finish our lap, dripping in sweat as the sun beats down on us. I stretch quickly before heading to the ring with Kit. We dance around each other, using both of our powers and bodies to fight, falling into a familiar rhythm. I let myself mull over what Kit said, losing myself in thought. The world flips. No, I flip. And then I'm sprawled on my back, trying to suck in air from my screaming lungs. Damn it! I lost focus. Got you on the ground, Kai? Kit smiles down at me. Been a few years since that last happened, huh? I can tell he's about to continue gloating, so I don't even give him a chance. My legs sweep out, catching his ankles, sending him sprawling to the ground beside me. Don't get used to it, I say, resting my head between the ground and smiling at the ocean. What? I say, resting my head on the ground and smiling up at the sky. Once he catches his breath, he's barking out a laugh. I should have seen that coming. He trails off as I reluctantly stand on my feet and lazily brush the dirt from my clothes before offering a hand to him. We go our separate ways, Kit to spar with an insisting Blair, while I head to the targets. I grab the thin knives from the rack beside me, and I flip one in my hand before flipping it through the air. Weapons. Fighting and killing. This is what I was raised to do. This is why I'll be the enforcer and the one fighting in the trials, not Kit. I hear the pounding of fist and quiet panting a few yards to my left, where the padded tree borders the training ground. She's back at it again. Once again, she's hammering blows into the tree. Or maybe simply never stopped in the first place. She looks frustrated, angry, sloppy. Her punches are weaker, her form far less controlled. She's tired, and her stance is suffering because of it. I mindlessly flip a knife in my hand, shaking my head at the sky for what I'm about to do. I send my blade cutting through the air towards my target before strolling over to her. Coming from behind while she continues to strike the pads, I'm standing at her back now and she pivots in one swift move, sending an elbow flying towards my face. I barely have enough time to dodge it before gripping her arm and halting it in the air. Her head whips around, strands of silver sticking to her face. Now slick with my sweat, my lips touch into a smile. You should keep practicing before you try to hit me, she snorts. In case you've forgotten how I saved you, I know how to fight. I don't need to try to hit you, Prince. She tugs her arm out of my grip and turns back towards the tree, intentionally ignoring me. I think, well, that just won't do. With this form, you will need to try, Gray. Oh, really? I can't tell if she's amused or contemplating trying to hit me at this very moment. Maybe both. Yes, really. You're sloppy, and it's not like you, I state, making her scoff. Once again, she turns back to the tree and begins throwing more punches, decidedly done with our conversation. Her knuckles are red, raw, and nearly bleeding. Why does she do this to herself? I shake my head, already knowing the answer. Because I've done it before. I've hit pads, walls, anything until blood dripped from my fist, all to find a release of anger, the frustration that was pent up inside of me. And that's exactly what Peyton is doing. She's still sweating. She's still swinging too much with her arms rather than using her whole body's momentum. She's typically very technical when it comes to fighting, making this especially unlike her. But she's tired and frustrated. And despite me knowing all of this, I can't fight the urge to toy with her. I step even closer to her back and place my hand on her hip, twisting her body as she throws another punch. She jumps and stumbles into me, her head tipping back against my bare chest. Stop swinging with your arms and swing with your whole body, I say, bending my head so I'm close to her ear. She sucks in a breath when my hands sweep over her abdomen. The whispers of my fingers dance along her thin tank. Engage your core, Gray. Her chest heaves. Then she takes a step forward, the heat of her body leaving mine. My hands are still planted on her hips when she turns her head to shoot me an irritated look. She knows that I'm right, and she hates it. She got lazy and didn't even realize until now, too focused and frustrated to notice. The thought had me smiling down at her as she huffs, blowing a strand of hair out of her eyes before turning back towards the tree. Now throw a punch, I murmur, leaning in to add, correctly. Shockingly, she doesn't argue, likely realizing that it won't do her any good. She squares her shoulder and bounces on the balls of her feet, and then she jabs, her fist flying towards the mat as I twist her hips in time with the punch. There's far more momentum behind it, and I can see how much stronger she's gotten in the short time here with consistent meals and training. When her knuckles sink into the pad, the lean muscles in her back and arm are evident. Much better, I say dully, despite being impressed. After a moment, that was most definitely too long, I finally drop my hands from her hips. Now, do it on your own. Just make sure that you're paying attention. She stills, facing the tree. And then there's a flash of silver hair as she swivels around, throwing a beautiful jab at my face.